Hello, all my role-playing peeps. This is +4 initiative bonus. We are getting ready to go to our Mutants and Masterminds game today, and what I've decided I was going to do, instead of just doing a video after it was all done, I'm going to do a little periodic video through the actual night, actually showing gameplay. That is, if my group agrees to it. Of course, I would never put anybody on film that didn't want to be. We might actually do a little bit of a scene so you can kind of see how the game plays out, things like that. Okay, so we're about 40 seconds here, and I'm gonna cut it in, and I think we're going to go eat. You might actually go see where we're going to go eat first. Our friendly neighborhood Chinese restaurant that everybody loves, called Red Flower.
Okay, so I've decided that what I said in the previous little tidbit is not going to really happen. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a little bit of a voiceover and actually just tell you actually what happened in the game. So this is what happened. Essentially, the game started, if you remember from the last game, the last video I did. We had Horizon on the moon, who was captured. We had Bloodhound, Maxine, and Killpond on Earth, who had just dealt with criminals actually trying to get the heck out of New York. So that's where the game actually is going to begin. It actually began on the moon. And essentially what happened is of course the brain monologued for a few moments. And as you can see here, this is what a buddy of mine actually done, a representation of what the brain actually looks like. I hope you like that. If you've been following on the like page over on Facebook, you've already seen this picture about a week ago. But anyway, he monologues a little bit to Horizon. Horizon's Tada, which is her artificial intelligence inside of her helmet, is dampened, and he's not functioning correctly. Her gravity powers are not working. She cannot work them at all. She can't sense gravity. She can't manipulate it. She's in a power dampening field, and she is basically helpless right now. And she's captured. So we have that. Next, what happened was the brain leaves, and another character by the name of Loudmouth enters. Loudmouth he comes dressed in a bathrobe and bunny slippers, and he actually had he was smoking a pipe, but it was a bubble pipe. So when he smoked it, bubbles come out. Blah, 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 bubbles come out. So he comes over and he starts speaking to Horizon. And basically he lets it slip that he is very intrigued with the hero known as Killpond. That'll come into play a little bit later. He does that, and they exchange whips back and forth, and then he leaves. They're there for a few moments, and the wall opens up, and her chamber moves into the next room. Well, in this next room, there's a giant Titantron. They're all off to one side. There's a raised platform with computers all around the brain. Off to one side, there is two other cages. Another character, which is another player, is a new player. These two players that are showing up are brand new. They have never played the game before. One of them is playing a character named Aldrich Stone, I believe is how you say his name. He's essentially a Power Ranger. Yes, he is a Power Ranger. Now, essentially, with the Power Ranger thing, with his backstory, basically, he was in his dimension. He was the last Ranger. Rita Repulsa and Zed wound up teaming up, really truly teaming together. They destroyed the command center, killed all the Rangers, and only two. It was two left. Tommy and him, and Tommy defended him, and he left trying to get help, but now he can't get back. So he was captured by the brain because he is a creature. He is an entity from another dimension. He is there to be studied. The other one is a character by the name of Titanium Dragon. Titanium Dragon is essentially, and you can see here, this is the picture that I use kind of as representation of what he looks like. Essentially, he is a dragonborn from Dungeons and Dragons 5e, but the dragon part is actually a power suit, kind of like Iron Man. Okay, but it looks like the dragonborn. So, but he's not in his suit. His suit is off to the side in pieces, and all these wires and things like that hooked to it, and it looks like the atomic brain was studying it. Come to find out that the reason why he wanted him is because he wants his company. He actually is a billionaire, just kind of like Tony Stark, but he is a international ore and tech dealer. So he deals in unusual metals. He deals in unusual metals and technology, rare metals, things like that. He's an international trading company, and he's a multi-billionaire. Okay, well, he's a billionaire, not a multi-billionaire, but he's a billionaire. Okay, so the brain basically. Oh, and there is a tube beside of the other two new players, and it's a vat of some kind of orangish green liquid, and in this liquid is an individual who, if you watched my last video on Let's Build, which I know it only went to 34 minutes, but essentially with this, it's the silver champion. Okay, the true silver champion. He is basically my Superman of this world. He is the original superhero. He actually ages in reverse dog years. So 7 years to him is equal to 1 year. So, and he got his powers when he was 17 in 1944. So he's in his early 40s, he looks like. But nobody's seen him since 1992. So Horizon was the only one that actually recognized this guy and was like, holy crap, this is the Silver Champion. The Atomic Brain taunts the Power Ranger, and basically waving his power crystal in front of him. To be more exact, he's a Dino Ranger from, I think, Dino Charge. Not Dino Thunder, but Dino Charge. I'm not 100% sure. I've not really watched that series. But anyway, he taunts him and shows him that he's got his power crystal and things like that. And they leave. They leave the room. Everybody leaves the room. He can feel there is a morphing grid in this universe, in my universe, that nobody really taps into. The morphing grid is like its universal thing, kind of thing. So he uses a hero point. Now, a hero point in Mutants and Masterminds allows you to do all kinds of nifty things. You can recover from an effect of some kind. You can do something cool and awesome that your character normally wouldn't be able to do. You can instantly counter some kind of effect. You can You can prevent yourself from dying or getting knocked out. Nobody really dies in comics. Things of that nature. So it's a universal kind of point that everybody starts the game with 1. Now I got a homebrew rule that you can have no more than 6, but you can carry those points over into the next game, but you can have no more than 6. So if you get 6 and you get another one, it's pretty much lost. So it's basically an incentive for the players to use them. I want them to use them and do heroic things. So essentially what he does is he uses his hero point, and he calls the crystal to him. And he does. But he wanted it to be over his neck. Of course, I also get to mess around with stuff like that also. So it comes to him, but it comes to in front of him. It's in his cage. He can't. He's chained up. He's laser grappled up, and he can't get down to get it. So it's there, but he can't get it. And Horizon spent a PowerPoint for her, and I allowed her to use level 1 of her gravikinesis. Basically, she can move object with gravity. She can move like gravity. But I made it a big strain on her, and she barely was able to put it around his neck. When he put it around his neck, it activates, and he morphs. He breaks out of his cage, and he breaks the Horizon and Titanium Dragon out. Well, when they break out, the Atomic Brain and Loudmouth, and now they're accompanied with an individual that looks like the Silver Champion, but he's cybered up, which was the character that we created in that last video, the Cyborg Silver Champion. He shows up. So that we pause on the moon, and we go to Earth. On Earth, we meet Maxine and Killpond and Bloodhound. Killpond is riding on the back of Maxine's giant power suit. Well, they just got information from the Angel that the accords between the living world and the supernatural world have been dissolved. So creatures are starting to bleed over into this world. Well, about that time, Killpond gets sucked off the side of Maxine's suit. And he gets sucked off, and it was like, well, he doesn't really get sucked off. He gets grappled and gets pulled off. And he falls to the ground, basically on a rooftop, hits with enough force, and he failed his toughness save, and splatted. So he dies. He's Killpond. He's basically Deadpool, and so in just a round or so, he'll be back alive, and he'll slowly start to regenerate. Well, what pulled Killpond off was a giant frog. So they go down and they fight the frog. They kill the frog. The frog has acid blood. They kill it. Killpond's back. They were like, what the heck's going on? Like, why is there a giant flipping frog in the middle of New York? Well, it's not really giant. It was a 6-foot-tall frog. They hear an explosion. They rush to find out what's going on. They cut the corner of it and down. They look down this street, and they see a giant, 30-foot-long snake with wings flying down this street. Okay. On its back is Dementia, the one that was after the Serpent Staff from the last video that I discussed that he got. He has the Serpent Staff. He's got a slew of normal citizens that he's actually changed into snake men. So basically with the staff allows you to do one of three things. What's random, what it turns you into. It'll either turn you into just a snake, a basic normal snake, or it will turn you into a Yuan-Ti from D&D, basically. They are the snake men, the bipedal snake men. Or it will turn you into a large, like 10 to 15 foot long snake thing. Now, come to find out, the Angel had actually been turned into this giant 30-foot snake with wings. Okay? And they launch into an assault to try to stop this thing. So basically what I'd done is it was basically a 3.5-hour fight. Because what I would do is I would do a round on the moon, and then I would go and I would do a round on Earth, and I would bounce back and forth. Now, on Earth, you had about 10 or so snake men. You had the giant 30-foot-long snake. You had Dementia. And you had another character that was sent by the Atomic Brain to assist Dementia. A character by the name of Midnight. Midnight there's a lot of backstory with this character, and I will do a video on him specifically. okay, because he actually entails it. But a quick recap of it is he is a character that originally was My World's Batman. My World's Batman is called the Eagle. It's a woman. Her name was Jessica Lockhart. Um, Originally, the Midnight was a character named Hawk, and Hawk was the Eagle's basically Robin, her sidekick. Now his name is David Lockhart. This is his aunt, okay? And she trained him and originally wanted him to take over the mantle as the Eagle. And so she died of cancer, and he blames Killpond for it. Killpond actually had a relationship with the Eagle, and he blames Killpond for what happened, her basically giving up and dying and all this, not fighting. Like I said, it's a whole video in and of itself, and I will actually do that at a later date. So basically, he's taunting Killpond, and Killpond winds up fighting him. The giant snake actually winds up gets a critical hit, and bites through Maxine's giant mech. And one of the fangs goes into her and poisons her. On the moon, battle ensues. On the moon, we've got the Atomic Brain, Cyborg Silver Champion, Loudmouth, and 2 brain bots jump in and assist the Atomic Brain. Battle ensues, and the Titanium Dragon actually gets the bright idea to go over and bust the container that has the original Silver Champion in it. He busts it, and he drops out, and liquid goes everywhere, and he starts to wake up a little bit, and the Cyborg Silver Champion jumps on the normal Silver Champion, and they bust into the next room fighting, and essentially putting those two out of the fight, which was a good thing because the Cyborg Silver Champion was a PL 14 opposed to their only PL 11, and basically what that means is that he has a base 3 points higher than anything that the group actually has. So he would constantly deal at least a minimum of 1 point of damage every time he hit, no matter what, because they can't resist it, unless they rolled a natural 20, of course. So, moving on. The battle on the moon consists of them killing Loudmouth. Come to find out, Loudmouth is a clone of Killpond, and had his vocal cords augmented by the Atomic Brain, turning him into this combination Killpond, Sonic powers kind of person. Basically, he's like Banshee from X-Men. He can scream and deal damage and do all kinds of wacky, weird things with his voice. They fight. They wind up killing Loudmouth 4 times, actually. But where he's basically a Killpond clone, he comes back to life. So Loudmouth finally gets tired of dying and runs. They wind up being the brain bots, and basically the Atomic Brain actually has a hostage, Dr. Michaels. It's part of this huge plot that's going on. That was going on. Basically, he's getting all this equipment. They never really find out what he was using all this super high-tech medical equipment for. Not 100%. And he's holding her hostage. Now, in the meantime, while this whole fight's going on, Titanium Dragon, instead of actually participating in the fight, does basically 2 things. He breaks the Silver Champion out of his tube, and then he goes to one of the control panels and finds the self-destruct for the base. And he activates it. So the base is basically going to blow up, and they wind up holding the Atomic Brain winds up holding this lady hostage. They wind up luckily, it was just a 50-50 chance if they was going to be able to actually move his arms and get the lady out. They barely got it, but they did, and they wind up ducking out just as the base starts to explode. They get out. Now, on Earth, Killpond and Midnight are fighting on a rooftop. Bloodhound He deals Bloodhound effectively deals with all of the mooks on the ground, the minions on the ground. He deals with them while Maxine actually tries to engage Dementia. So, sorry, I just lost train of thought right there. Tries to engage Dementia. Well, Dementia is carrying a power level X weapon. He himself is not power level X, but he's carrying a power level X device. So basically what that means is the weapon itself is godlike, but he isn't, if that makes sense. And he winds up pointing the wand with the staff at Maxine and turning Maxine into a snake man or a snake girl. She is a 16-year-old girl. Turning her into a snake person. And basically she gets a flood of all these images of Atlantis and basically a quick recap history of the Serpent Staff. She gets it like all at once. And she has to do what the staff wielder wants. That's basically this power level X affliction that she's being afflicted with does to you. You obey the wielder of the staff. Well, when that happened, Bloodhound fires to try to disarm, range disarm Dementia, and passes it, hits him in the crook of the wrist, and makes him open his hand, and he drops the staff. When he does, Maxine, where there's technically now no holder of the staff, technically flips. She gets a little bit of her sense back. I mean, she's still got this thing in her head that says, "Get the staff, get the staff, get the staff, get the staff. You have to have the staff. The staff has to have a wielder." So she dives after it. It goes into the. They spend a pure point and make the staff drop into the sewer. So it drops into the sewer. Dementia goes after it. Now, mind you, Dementia gets his arm blowed off by what happened, and they realize that his hand is robotic. They don't really understand why is it robotic, but his arm was robotic. He goes after it. Maxine goes after him and cuts the other arm off, and it's robotic. He dives into the sewer trying to get the staff. Maxine goes after him, and combat ensues. And and come to find out that Dementia is a snake. He got transformed himself into one of the snakes. So he's like a 7.5 foot, like 1.5 foot diameter round snake. And it decides he runs. But Maxine is now in the sewers with the Serpent Staff, and she gets this inkling: there has to always be a wielder of the staff. So she reaches down. Her suit opens up, and she reaches down and grabs it. So she's got it in her hand. About that time is when everybody from the moon shows up. Horizon's trying to tell her that you got to drop the staff. You have to drop the staff. And of course the staff is taking over, and she uses the staff to blast everybody away. He goes into this big monologue. The player of Maxine is great because he goes into this whole monologue of I will be the ruler, stay back, and all this whole thing. And finally, Bloodhound does the exact same thing to Maxine that he did to Dementia. He disarms him. He shoots him in the wrist, and he gets disarmed. And Horizon uses her gravity powers and grabs it and opens a portal to a random dimension and just flings it into it, and it's gone. Once it's out of this dimension, the power goes away. So he gets his mind back, and his normal flesh starts coming back, and the scales start going away, things like that. But I told him, you get addicted to the power that the staff gives, and it's actually the equivalent to, if you know anything about withdrawals, alcohol withdrawals is essentially what you go through. And if you've ever seen anybody go through alcohol withdrawals, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So they wind up discussing the 2 new characters, things like that. The Atomic Brain is back because, yes, his base blew up, but Killpond actually had Midnight down and basically had him beat. And a hand comes from behind him and touches his shoulder and shocks him, and he falls to the ground and looks up, and the Atomic Brain is standing there, and he reaches down to pick up Midnight. When he does, Killpond says that I hate you, and is like, I will kill you. And Killpond says, many have tried, and he leaves, and he teleports away. And that's essentially what happened in the game. Now, I gave the group 3 XP, and the player of Maxine got an extra point just because of roleplay and everything that happened with Killpond, and the roleplay that happened between him and Midnight while they were fighting. The group decided to give him another XP also. Now, I like doing that just to reward XP and things like that. Now, the next game, hopefully, which I hope, will be our space game. And I'll actually do a short little cap on it. Now, I won't be running this game. The player of Maxine is actually going to be the one running it. I'm actually playing have you ever seen the show Bucky O'Hare? Well, I'm playing one of the Toads from the Toad Empire, but he's a psychic. He smokes big cigars, and he's a psychic and things like that. He's a pirate and stuff. So that's what I'll be playing in that game. So I'm going to end this voiceover right here. The next little clip that you're going to see is actually going to be my group and their interactions. I'll be asking them a couple of questions, things like that. They were actually okay with that. They really didn't want to do any kind of filming during game because they felt as though it might disrupt gameplay. So which I understand, which is the reason why we didn't do it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and we'll go to that right now.
Hey everybody, this is +4 Initiative Bonus. We just finished our Mutants and Masterminds game. The return of the Atomic Brain, if you will. And we got here my actual play group. We've got the character that plays Bloodhound right here. We got a character that plays, that's Killpond over there. This is Horizon, and this is Maxine. I've got 2 other new characters that actually showed up. I've got a flippin' Power Ranger and a character by the name of Titanium Dragon, who is basically like a Tony Stark style character. So, tell me everybody, what did you really think of the game and the return of the brain?
It was great.
That was a blast.
It was a blast, but the brain's gonna die.
The brain.
We've tried before.
It was a little, from a black hole.
It was slightly disappointing that we didn't finally get to finish the brain off once and for all, which was kind of what I was hoping for. But nonetheless, but it still felt right. And we had a couple of other interesting rabbit holes that have yet to be resolved.
That's true. Which is, you got to keep your players wanting, essentially.
And
a lot of character development. We basically have a defiling of a grave and a clone son named Loudmouth that showed up, that they wound up killing 3 times, but he keeps coming back because he's basically Killpond, but with sound powers. So, favorite part of the night?
Playing a Power Ranger, I mean, that's one of the things I've always wanted to do.
Playing a Power Ranger, yes. Specific thing that happened tonight, Horizon. What happened?
What, my favorite thing?
Favorite thing that happened tonight?
Favorite thing that happened tonight? Epic escape from the exploding moon base.
Exploding moon base. Awesome. I'm assuming yours was setting the base to blow up?
And also calling a Atomic Brain Skeletor.
Gotcha. Awesome.
You got taste for
Power Ranger, your favorite tonight?
Be playing a Power Ranger.
Playing a Power Ranger. Bloodhound?
Flying Snake Rodeo.
Well, yes. Yeah, that's okay. Killpond?
Killpond's freak out of the Eagles' former sidekick when they were fighting.
Awesome. We'll get to that later. I'll do a little expedition about actually the full concept that actually happened. Maxine?
Oh, that's an easy one there for 5 minutes when it looked like Maxine was going to become another major villain.
Ah, that's true.
She tasted X level power, and who knows, she may have liked it.
Awesome.
If it wasn't for Adric's quick thinking, that would have happened.
Indeed, that was a crisis averted.
See why?
Or was it?
I don't know. I blasted the thing out of her hand, and the other character moved it to another
You
dimension.
know what's funny?
Right.
Since-
So,
Not for long,
I was
though.
thinking about my character
Well,
trying to grab it. Not to use it.
there's
to
nothing.
study.
Now, we can't say that the snake staff is coming back. We can hope that it stays where she sent it.
that's true. Because she just kind of flung it into another reality to try to get rid of it quickly to prevent Maxine from snorting it like sweet, sweet cocaine.
Oh.
So, this is my play group. I hope to actually get a little more, maybe do some character interviews later kind of thing. But I just kind of want to show everybody what my group, and I will be doing some exhibition actually telling exactly what happened later. Might do a little bit of a voiceover, trying to test out my new editing software that I've got. So, I'm going to leave it at that.